Richard Old Man Harrison died in June 2018 from Parkinson's disease. He was a Pawn Stars star who had a lot of fans who were saddened by his death. Harrison and his family ran the world-famous gold and silver pawn shop in Las Vegas, and Harrison and his family's lives were often dramatic. What better way to remember Old Man Harrison than to watch some of the funniest things he did on Pawn Stars? First, Rooster Old Man Cogburn and Justin Bieber, and the Old Man deconstructs Facebook. When the pawn shop workers decided to have a Halloween costume contest, it was one of the best parts of Old Man. After some small talk, which is a must for any conversation behind the pawn shop counter, the boys started to show what they were wearing. Austin Chumley Russell said that he was dressed as pop star Justin Bieber, a true surprise given that the costume was little more than a slender hoodie and a bad wig. Beaver? Asked the old man. Bieber. Women are crazy about him. Chumley also shot back. They go crazy over a beaver? Asked the old man. Even after going back and forth a lot, he still didn't get it. The funny stuff didn't end there. Next, the old man told Rick Harrison that he wasn't Roy Rogers, as he had thought. Instead, he was Rooster Cogburn, who was played by John Wayne in the 1969 movie version of True Grit, not in the 2010 version which Harrison didn't even know existed. Next, when he asked his grandson, Corey, what's Facebook? In a casual way, the old man had no idea what he was in for. The younger Harrison started to explain how to make a profile and update your status in a way that was clear and accurate. He even added a cute bit about how his current status could be how he was explaining Facebook to his grandfather. But the practical old man ruined the moment by saying that it sounded like the stupidest thing he'd ever heard of and asking, I'm going to sit at the computer and write down what I'm doing? Corey tried to move the conversation to safer ground by talking about how Facebook helps you stay in touch with your hundreds or thousands of friends. But the old man's advice came crashing through again. Why don't you just pick up the phone and call your friend? Also, how many of them would really come help you move if you asked them? Words of wisdom from people who are older. Next, the grumpiest Santa you ever met, and that time he bought a smartphone. In this episode, Chumley and the old man both wore Santa Claus costumes. Of course, the shop owner won, and the younger Santa had to leave. The only thing? The old man Santa Claus was much more like Ebenezer Scrooge. He showed this when Chumley came back in a new costume that looked like Will Ferrell's in the movie Elf. Old Man Santa took over the gift exchange for the small group. The whole scene is hilarious, with Chumley re-gifting something to the old man right off the pawn shop counter, and Corey digging deep into his almost empty pockets to find a gift for his father. But the real kicker was when the old man gave his grandson a gift from his dear grandmother, a hand-knit sweater that could win the most competitive ugly sweater contest you've ever seen. Harrison Sr. saw that his grandson was nervous about having to wear it ever, let alone in public. So he told his shaking grandson that his wife was coming to the shop at some point during the day, so he had to put it on and wear it all day until she got there. This is what happens when Scrooge is in charge of the gift exchange. Bah humbug, even though Old Man Harrison was quick to criticize anything with a new serial number, that didn't mean he didn't occasionally try out new gadgets. So he went ahead and bought a smartphone without telling anyone else in the store. He did well, right? Wrong. What's wrong? He still didn't like the thing, and he didn't know how to use it right. And sure enough, he did let it get to him. Rick Harrison and his friends were shocked when they saw the Patriarch's new gadget. But when they looked into it more, they were even more shocked to find out that he had called the pawn shop 27 times that day. Any phone that can mess with you is pretty smart, said the old man, in a way that was both calm and funny. Old man, you are right. Third, the old man versus the bell and those old man sayings. What do you get when you mix an old man, a headache, and a bell? That's a primetime comedy. In this scene, Old Man Harrison was sitting at his desk behind the counter with a headache when one of the professionals, the Pawn Stars, brought in to check on purchases showed up. The man was coming in to look at an old bell that Corey wanted to show him. After saying hello to the pawn shop owner, who told him that he had such a bad headache that he couldn't even stand up to say say hello, the professional and Corey got down to business at the counter. Corey pulled the string, which made the bell ring. Usually, old things that still work are as cool as it gets, but not this time. The old man yelled at Corey to stop, but the bell was still ringing in his ears. Either Corey wasn't in a good mood, or he was too busy trying to figure out what was going on with the bell when he said he had a business to run. He got a short answer. "Oh, shut up," he said, turned around and pulled on the bell again. Just one more way to show how well the Pawn Star family gets along. Richard using a sledgehammer to swat a fly, Harrison had a saying for everything. From Elton John specials to Old Man, some of them were done perfectly and had great comedic timing, while others just left everyone in the room confused. In separate interviews, Chumlee and Corey both talked about the time the old man said the strange phrase, "Jesus Christ and a month-old baby." Rick Harrison said that it was strange that his father could come up with a weird saying for any situation. He said that the family always looked them up online to see if they were made up, but most of them were real. It seems the old man's background in the South or his time in the Navy were often to blame. Fans of the show made several montages with these sayings, which they call Old Man Wisdom, because he always said them. But enough about the sayings. Let's stop skylarking and get on with our lives. Fourth, nectar of the gods. The old man could get pretty high-minded sometimes, especially when he had a cup of coffee in his hand. In this case, the high-minded talk was put right on the coffee. When Chumlee brought the old man a nice cup of coffee, Harrison couldn't help but relax for a moment and thank the boy for being kind. But the old man wasn't just going to thank him, because that would have been too nice. Instead, he began by saying that he thought coffee was, he called it, the nectar of the gods, after bringing up Greek mythology, which changed the whole tone of the conversation. He confessed that Chumlee had made a good cup of coffee. After the compliment, he told his employee that coffee is important for a well-rounded person and that everyone should be required by law to drink 5 cups every day. But the best part of the scene is at the end. After telling Chumlee to please do some work for God and country today, he takes a sip of coffee and makes a face that makes you wonder how good it is. Maybe he was just taking a break from his long-running fight with his employee/friend, Grandsons, who was always upset. Finally, that time the old man got super pissed off. Even though many of Old Man Harrison's best memories involved teasing and mocking, every once in a while he got really upset about something. Like when the rest of the guys set up a scene to make it look like they'd sold his rare Imperial, a car he'd been keeping in the back lot. They actually sent it away to be fixed up as a surprise for their fearless leader. But the fact that it could also be used to lather up the old man made the whole thing even better. Corey started things off by telling him that they thought it would just sit in the back lot and rot, so they sold it for a cool $1,000. Then, Chumlee made things even more confusing by saying in detail what the new owner planned to do to it, such as turning it into a lowrider. The old man was furious and sounded more angry than he usually did on the show. He cursed like a sailor, which made the other guys laugh behind his back when they surprised him with a restored car. He just told them to get out of the way as he got into his beautiful ride and looked like a kid in a candy store. Unfortunately, that is all the time we have for you today. Thanks for sticking with us till the very end. Till next time, cheers.